On this episode of Create, Consume, Repeat, I take my first step towards live streaming with part 1 in a multi-part series documenting my journey into this new and exciting world. Unlike the videos I've created in the past where I show what it takes to shoot a short film or how to make your YouTube channel look premium as f***, live streaming is a totally new venture for me. But with the popularity of podcasting and Twitch streaming growing at a crazy rate, I decided it was time I learned what it actually takes to get a show off the ground. So what better place to start than audio? 1. What are my content needs? Will I be doing a podcast, hosting a YouTube live, teaching an online course, Zoom calls with clients, or just doing voiceover work? All questions that need addressing before considering purchasing any piece of equipment. 2. Determine what hardware and software I'll need along with my overall budget. And 3, where will I be producing this content? Is it going to be a home studio, a music venue, or will this need to be a mobile setup? In my case, I plan to do a 50-50 split between Twitch streaming and extensive voiceover work on my YouTube videos and indie films. My budget for audio and audio alone is around $1,000 total, and I plan to spend most of the time in studio, but always want the option to be mobile. And I know that for some of you, you just got sticker shock, but keep in mind, my needs are very, very specific. If you're just teaching a course online or planning to do some Twitch streaming, you can cut that budget in half. With all those decisions out of the way, I can now start doing extensive research by asking friends with audio experience, devouring YouTube videos like Booth Junkie, which I highly recommend, and going to stores to sample various microphones, which is one of the most important steps in this process. And if you only take away one thing from this entire video, it should be this: when purchasing a microphone, don't just watch a review and order it off of Amazon. Microphones are expensive and react differently to different voices. You want to ensure the sound you're going to get is pleasing to your ear. Don't just buy something because everyone on the internet is telling you it's amazing. You might get it into your studio and hate the way it sounds, and that is an awful feeling. After 2 weeks of extensive research, I landed on the following equipment: the legendary Electro Voice RE20 broadcast announcer dynamic microphone, because of its optimized vocal performance, amazing fall off that helps with outside noises, 180-degree cardioid pattern, and the warm tone, an Electro Voice 309A suspension shock mount, the BSW Repop pop filter to kill all those plosives dead, a Cloudlifter CL1, because the Electro Voice microphone is a gain-hungry beast, and the Cloudlifter boosts the gain, which helps lower preamp hiss and noise. A Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 3rd generation USB audio interface so I can get those sweet, sweet sounds into my computer. An onstage adjustable desktop microphone stand, and finally, an XLR cable. That's right, most people forget to add cables into their budget, which is a pity. Here's all that equipment neatly laid out, and I'll be the first to admit, this looks a bit daunting considering I've never done this before. Now, before I can jump in, I'll need to make some space on this crowded desktop and concentrate on setting up a good foundation, which in this case is the mic stand. I figure I'll need somewhere to rest the mic once everything is unboxed. As you can see, this doesn't have many parts, just the stand and a heavy base plate, which is a good thing since the EV20 is a heavy piece of equipment. Now that this is assembled, let's set it aside and start on the shock mount. The contents of this nondescript white box include instructions, 2 sets of funny looking rubber straps that probably go over this metal square frame, and through the magic of editing, I'll make it look like I've done this a million times. In reality though, it took me 5 minutes to figure this all out. With the shock mount assembled, let's bring out the star of the show, the EV RE20. My first impression, it's got an incredible all metal build with some serious heft. In order to install this on our shock mount, we'll need to remove this piece right here. One other thing to note is this tiny little switch right here, which is a high pass filter or bass tilt down switch, which drops the low frequency response by approximately 2.25 decibels below 400 hertz. Installing this into the shock mount is as easy as sliding it into the groove, then lightly twisting it and tightening this screw right here. Now that this is all assembled, I'll just mount it onto the mic stand and put it off to the side so I can open up the Cloud Lifter, which has a heavy all-metal body with 5 rubber feet, and it's oddly sexy, but pretty chonky if you know what I mean. Let's get our XLR cables out and start hooking this up. Wait, sorry. I almost forgot to install the most expensive pop filter ever made. In the interest of time, I'll just tell you that the instructions on the box actually fail to mention one important detail that I had to verify online. While installing this pop filter, one needs to flip the tightening screw from one side to the other in order to tighten. And FYI, the fit around the mic is tight as f***. With that squared away, let's bust out the audio interface, the piece that actually allows us to get the mic signal to the computer. My initial impressions of the Focusrite is that it is sleek and sexy. As you can see, we have 2 XLR/1/4 inch combo audio inputs, line/instrument level switches, air mode switches, which give your recording a brighter, more open sound, and the gain control knob with light up ring to indicate audio levels. Moving across the device, we have this big volume knob that I truly appreciate, and a 1/4 inch headphone jack with independent volume knob, another nice touch. On the back, we have your left and right line outputs for studio monitors, and a USB-C port and Kensington security lock. With all that out of the way, it's important to point out that researching, purchasing, and hooking up all this equipment is only part of the equation. Out of the box, your voice may sound better when compared to the mic on your laptop, but the real magic happens in post-processing. Whether you do it in real time on an audio mixer or clean up the files afterwards in Audacity, Audition, Logic, or Pro Tools, we'll need to follow a few simple steps. Pro tip: if you want to save some cash, go with Audacity since it's free, but keep in mind it isn't the most intuitive and lacks a few minor features. Nothing that's a deal breaker though. Now, to demo the post-production needed to clean up and sweeten audio, I'll be doing my work in Audition, and the steps I'm going to show you are by and large the same across all apps. But keep in mind, our voices are all different, so the settings I use in each step work for my voice, but may not work for your voice. 1. Noise reduction. When recording, you'll want to leave a bit of silence before you start recording, so you can pull that sound print and reduce the noise on your entire clip. It will help clean up any background noise like the hum of a PC or an air conditioner. Just keep in mind, it will only work on the quieter parts of your audio. 2. Add compression, which lessens the dynamic range between the loudest and the quietest part of an audio signal. Here are all the variables you can manipulate, but I would suggest you play around since it's all dependent on your voice. 3. Equalize. This is the most subjective part of the whole process, and I won't go into much detail since this area requires more time than I can dedicate on this one episode. 4. Normalize, which is the application of a constant amount of gain to bring the amplitude to a target level. Because the same amount of gain is applied across the entire recording, the signal to noise ratio and relative dynamics are unchanged. As I was filming this episode, I came across a new piece of equipment. As I mentioned earlier, I purchased the Cloud Lifter to boost the gain on this mic. But for $50 extra, you can actually pick up the DBX 286S. And this piece of equipment is incredible, and I'll explain why. Like the Cloud Lifter, it also boosts the gain on a mic, but it gives you a suite of tools that are incredible. And if you're live streaming or doing Twitch broadcasting and you need your voice to sound as sweet as humanly possible in real time, this is what you want to get. In my short time of using it, it has been a true game changer. I'm telling you, it is worth the extra $50. It's changed my whole workflow. Here we have the mic preamp, and unlike the Cloud Lifter's 20 decibels of gain, the DBX provides a whopping 60 decibels. Other features in this section include phantom power and a high pass filter. Next to that, the process bypass function, so you can record sans processing. Next up is the hardware-based compressor. The drive knob affects how much compression, and the density knob controls the release. Moving right along, we have a de-esser, which is a specialized type of compressor that addresses that S frequency. The enhancer section will help the clarity of your voice by boosting the low frequency and the high frequency. The expander/noise gate addresses the quietest parts by turning down background noise and hiss. So in theory, the compressor and expander work together to tune your dynamic range. Lastly, we have the output knob that helps you increase or decrease the final signal. I generally keep it at 0, or what the pros call unity gain. That just about wraps it up here. And if you want me to go into greater detail about any single item I shared today, let me know about it in the comment section below. Just keep in mind, this video was a general overview, and I wanted to avoid reading the feature list off the back of every box, because you're adults and you can do it yourself. You don't need me for that. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and bell buttons below. It helps me grow this channel and notifies you when I drop a new episode. Catch you guys next time.